Hi everyone, welcome back to She of Three Angels. This is Lori. How are you guys doing? Oh my Lord, it has been forever and a day since I have actually done a video. We have been really busy around here, but I wanted to do a really quick video for you guys. I made this little mini file folder, and what it is used for is for sending post-it notes or organizing your post-it notes. This is very similar to the one that Cheaply Chic Lynette did, and it's just a little bit more condensed, and I've kind of put the two file folders together differently than the way that Lynette did them. But I wanted to share this. It was actually requested by one of the ladies in the collective collab. So she requested a tutorial on how to make it because I sent one out with a Valentine's theme to a swap partner. And so I enjoyed it so much, I actually made a few extras. So I wanted to show you that I made this one, and I made this one. They're just a little bit different, but I've had this black and white paper, it seems like forever, but I wanted to kind of use this paper to make them. So I'll open up all three of them and show you, but this is the one that actually shows you exactly what I did for that post-it note swap. So it does wrap around a couple times. As you can see, I have little beads on the end of the string, and that just kind of helps keep it in place. So I'll show you on the bottom of this one. It looks like that. Just some beads to dress it up a little bit. And I put one on both ends of the tie. And then this one has like a little charm hanging from it. It's a heart. And then I have that bead on top. So this is what the inside will look like when someone opens it. There's post-it notes on the inside. And this one, I've kind of done a holiday theme on the post-it notes. These were kind of for New Year's Eve. Then we have Valentine's Day. And here is St. Patty's Day. And you open it up some more. This is kind of like spring and like Easter stuff, maybe Mother's Day. Here I have the 4th of July. And this was something fun with like kind of some bubbles on it for the summer. You open it up again. And then we have Halloween. We have Thanksgiving and Christmas. So I just put like an assortment of holiday post-it notes inside. And here's the back. And then I am going to show you guys how I put it together. Let me go ahead and tie this one up. So that wraps around a couple times. And then you tie it in a pretty bow. Now I just chose like 10 sheets of each little post-it note, but I thought this was like a really cute idea that if you're doing a swap or an RAK, what a cute way to send those off to whoever you're sharing these with. So there was that one. And these ones do not have Post-it notes in it, but you'll get a better look at how it's made. Now these ones I did dress up a little bit more. I added washi to these, like on the tab parts, and you can see on the inside. And I have reinforced the washi so that it wouldn't come off with the 3M packing tape. So it's like a really sturdy tape, and it will keep the washi all in place. And here you can see where I have actually sewn the two folders together. And there's the inside. And I did two different patterns. There's the inside, and you can still see the stitch through there. And that's what the back side of that one looks like. You can really see that masking tape. And if you wanted to, you could actually cover the whole back side with that masking tape. Or actually, after I made these, I thought, you know what, it probably would have been a good idea to laminate them because they're not that big. They would actually fit through your laminator with the, I think they're like the 8.5 by 10 sheets. I think they're a little bit bigger than that, but I think that one of these would actually fit in that. But I just went this route, quick and easy. And this one has this bead on it. And then when I wrap this one, and tie it in a knot or tie it in a bow. And then this one just has these little black beads with the bead caps on them. And I just tied the ends in a little knot, a double knot, so that the bead wouldn't fall off. And I did tie a knot at the top, so then that way the beads wouldn't move around and all that. And of course, this is a little brad right there. So there was that one. And then this one is another one. There's the beads on that. And I was just using that baker's twine from the Dollar Tree. I've got two little beads on there, a pink and a gold. And this is what the front of that one looks like. As you can see, I did the gold on those tab parts up there. And this is the back. So just decorated it with some washi. And there's no, there are no Post-its in this one either. So these two are empty and ready to be filled. And I think one of them will go in my giveaway when I have my 500 subscribers. I am really, really close. I think the last time I checked, I'm at about 32 subscribers away from 500. So I've already started my giveaway shopping, so keep an eye out for that. As soon as that happens, we'll have a little fun with a giveaway. So there's those two. And then you saw that this one was complete with the Post-its on the inside. So let me show you how I made those. And this is actually the mini file folder that I received. And I believe I received it in a gift, but I kind of wanted to measure it for you guys so you guys could kind of see how big it was. So without the tabs, it's about 8 inches. With the tabs, it's about 8.5 or almost 9 inches that way. And this way it is about 5.5 inches. So then of course when it's folded in half, this is what you get. And I did mine a little different. I kind of folded it. I did my fold to where that these were even. So that's a little bit different than the way that this folder is done. I have two more that I've already prepped. I've cut out of my paper and I have decorated the way that I want them decorated. I have the inside, let me show you, the inside already with the washi tape and the masking tape, and there's the bottom. So this one is going to have this chevron pattern and this floral pattern together. And then there's that one. So now what I do is, since I want the folders looking like this, I don't want it back to back like this, because then the tabs match right there. And plus I decorated the outside of that one. So I want it to look like this. So this is going to be the front, and that will be the back. So if you notice, the tabs are both facing the opposite direction. So with that, I go ahead and sandwich these two together in the direction that I want them. I have this little piece of cardboard that I use to make my holes for my sewing, so bear with me. I have one of these little doll needles. It's really kind of a big needle, and what I want to do is I want to puncture in the seam in 3 spots. I want to go here, and then I'm going to go here, and then I'm going to go here. So I've kind of got to eyeball it, and the reasons this is on the bottom is so that when the needle goes through, I don't dull my needle on the mat. So it's kind of giving it a little bit of a cushion, and it makes the needle go through. So I'm looking for the middle, which I'm thinking is right about there. So I'm going to shove that needle through, and as you can see, it's going to come through the back side. So there's my first hole. And now I'm going to kind of measure in between this hole and this end and do the middle here. Looks about right to me there. Remember, I'm keeping that needle in there, and I'm going to stick it all the way through both layers. Okay, and I'm going to do it one more time on the other side. Keep in mind to make sure that these edges are always lined up. And I think this one is going to be right about where that mark is. And then I want that one to go through too. So it goes right through both layers. And I'm going to pull it through. Okay, so the holes have been made. And if you remember, this is my back. This is my back. I'm sorry, and this is my front. So I'm going to line those up. And I am going to use, I think I want to use gold on this one. So I'll just set those aside. I'm going to grab some of this gold trim. Found this at Hobby Lobby in the ribbon department. I don't do a measurement. I just kind of eyeball it, and I'm going to cut it. And I grab a smaller needle. So this is the needle that I did the holes with, and this is the needle that I'm going to sew with. You'll see once in a while that this starts getting sticky at the bottom because I'm running it through that tape, but you can take some Goo Gone or maybe some alcohol wipes, kind of get that sticky stuff off. So now I'm going to feed this through my smaller needle, and I want to, if you guys can see this, I want to leave a little bit at the top because this is where I'm going to add my bead, and I'm going to sew through that first hole here, and it's going to go through to the second second one. So you see how both of them are there? And I'm sewing through both of them where that hole was made. They're both in the same spot. They should be. So then what I'll do is I'll take this however long I want it. You want to give it a little extra extra length. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through this back side and sew it through to that hole. Do you see how I have that going through both? And you want to pull it taut because you don't want it loose. So now I'm going to go through that last hole. Do you see? Went through both. There's the so I'm pulling that through all the layers nice and tight. So now in order for me to get the stitches over here, I want this end to go over the bottom, and we're going to go through that same hole again. So do you see how I'm going through the bottom? Okay. And you want to pull that nice and taut. And now I'm going to go through this hole because we're going to go sew through the whole thing. Pull nice and tight. And then go through this one. So now I have them both leading up, and I can take my needle out, but I do still want to make sure that everything is tight. And then what I do here, keep the strings, your ribbon, whatever you decide to use, on this side of that edge, and keep it down to the bottom where the fold is, and tie it nice and tight. And I tie another knot, make it nice and tight. So do you see how that goes all the way up to the edge there? And I'll actually do 3 knots, just, I don't know, it's that 3 thing for me, you know? So there's that. So now let me show you, this is what we would call our spine, but if you look, the thread only goes through those holes. It doesn't go all the way around. Do you see that? So now they're both sewn together. Again, this is my front. Here's the first page. Here's the middle. Okay, there's the third page. And then there's the back. So this is my spine. I've got it sewn through here. I've got it sewn through there, and I've got it sewn through there. So now I'm just going to go ahead and even out my trim here, right there. And now I have me a book. So now I've got to find placement for my brad, which is this right here. Okay. And what I want to do is somewhere in the middle here, in between these two, I want to poke another hole. So I'm going to grab my little cardboard out. Grab my bigger needle again. And I'm probably, because see, there's where my, I don't know if you guys can see it. This is where my middle stitch is. So I'm kind of using that as my guide, and probably want it right about here. So what I'll do is I'll poke that hole. I'll go all the way through. And then I can take my brad and stick my brad in there. It just kind of pre-punches a hole for you. Now you're going to want to keep the brad not exactly tight on here, because you still have to add string or ribbon, however you want to do it, and that way you have something to close it tight. And these brads, they kind of got jankied. I don't know how that happened. So now I'm going to grab my gold trim again and take off quite a bit, because I like it to wrap around at least 2 or 3 times. And what I want to do is I want to tie my trim right about here, and I'm leaving quite a bit extra here because this is going to be my bow part. So I'm leaving quite a bit of extra. And sorry guys, I'm trying to tie this. My chunky fingers. So there's one, and I'm going to do it twice. And there's number 2. Okay, so do you see how that string goes that way? Then that way when I wrap this part around, I tie it in my bow, and there is how I seal it. Just like that. Okay, so now what we want to do is I picked out an assortment of gems or beads that I want to kind of decorate the strings with. So I will first go ahead and do the little charm dangle, and at this time I need to use my smaller needle. This is the one, wait a minute. This is a smaller needle, so actually I have 3 needles. So just to show you guys, this one made the holes, this one did the sewing of the trim, this one is a smaller, thinner needle, and it actually fits through the beads with the string. So that's the reasons why I have the 3rd needle. Otherwise, I am not going to be able to get these beads on. Actually, I think that these ones I might be able to get on, but I'm not going to be able to get the second string through, and I want that string through it. So what I have to do is thread this through, and you will see that the eye hole is really small, so it's probably gonna tweak up your string a little bit, but I want both strings to go through both holes on the gems. So do you see that? This one already I fed through manually. This one I'm using the needle, and if it gets really tough to pull that needle through, where is it at? Here it is. I have these little rubber I think you get these in the sewing department, but they're like little rubber discs, and I can wrap it around the needle and pull that string through. So that kind of gives me a little bit of a leverage to pull that through, because sometimes they get stuck a little bit. So now I have that, and I want to take this. You can see on this heart, it has a really thin jump ring on it, but I want that part, the opening part of the jump ring, to be inside the heart. And what I usually do is I'll take like a dab of glue and put a dab of glue on that hole and a dab of glue on that hole, and it'll keep it from sliding and falling off. So that will be like one of the last things I do at the end. So right now I'm feeding the trim through the big jump ring, and I'm just going to let that fall, and I want to tie a knot as close to the end as I possibly can. Some of you with those tiny fingers might be able to do this a little bit better than I am, but I'm using that knot as a way to keep this heart on, the gem, and then it will also help keep the pink and the gold. And if I wanted to, I can go ahead and trim off a little bit of that. Give it a little bit of a haircut. Then that way it kind of stays in place. So there is the beads for this one that I've been putting together for you guys. And now I'm going to add my beads to my strings, my tie strings. And these ones, since this trim is stiff, kind of, it's not wiry, but it's pretty stiff, it will let me feed through. Oh, maybe it won't let me feed through the knot, through the. Yeah, I may have to get my needle for this one. So I pulled that through, just in case I need my little disc. I want my bead on top. Didn't need the, there we go. Pull that out. And now I'm going to double knot this. So then that way the bead doesn't fall off. And like I said, as close to the end as you can get it. And you may have to triple knot it. You never know. It just depends on how big that hole is at the bottom of that bottom bead. Let me see. I might need one more. Actually, I think it will stay. Can you guys see that? That's gonna stay. And then what I like to do on the strings is, so that the beads don't continually slide, is I like to tie a knot at the top as well. And that's even harder, because I just want you guys to kind of watch. I'm just sliding the string through my hand and holding that knot close. So I'm going to do it one more time, because we doubled the other one, and this will for sure help keep it in place. So That'll keep it right there. Now for the last one. And this is the one, the shorter one that's attached here. Let's see if we can bead this one without. Yep. So see what I mean? Sometimes you can get it to bead without using the needle, and sometimes you'll need that needle. So what I've done with this needle, instead of searching for it in my sewing kit, I keep this with my beads because I know that this one will go through. And I don't want to lose that. So now I'm going to put on my other gold one. And remember, we're going to double knot it as close to the end as we can. One more time. Sorry about that, guys. Tilly wants out and I'm doing a video, so it's going to have to wait until I'm done here. Bear with me. She's fine. So there it is, attached. Okay, and remember I've got to knot the top part of it. That one more time. So I'm really using my fingers underneath the underside of my hand to pull on that string to knot it at the top, just in case you guys were wondering. So now we are done with this one, and you guys got to see how I make them. So I'm going to wrap around twice, and I'm going to try and make a pretty bow. And now when it lays, the beads keep the strings down and not going everywhere. And then here is the dangle on the outside. So that's it, guys. I have successfully made 5 of these, if you want to include my one that I sent out for Valentine's Day or the other post-it swap. And here are the other 4. Remember, this one was finished. This one had all the little post-it notes on the inside. So this one is ready to go. And like I said, I'm getting close to my 500 subscribers.